Oh, yes, we are live. Hello, my friends. Once again, I'm Kenny Gould, founder of Hop Culture, creative director at Untapped, and the host of Untapped's virtual happy hour. Today, we have some very cool guests from one of the most impactful craft breweries of the last probably ever. It's a force. Samuel Adams, of course, is the brewery that I am talking about, and I am especially excited because I'm going to be talking to two people from Samuel Adams who know a lot about a subject that is very near and dear to my heart, which is creating a more fun, more exciting, more equitable craft beer industry for more people. If you did not know, Samuel Adams is actually partnering with Hop Culture, the company that I started, on Queer Beer Festival, which will be going down on June 5th of this year. It's going to be a digital festival. Boxes are sold out, but you are, of course, welcome to join us on YouTube for all of the awesome content. Make some friends, drink some of your own beer. It's going to be an awesome day. If you want to learn more about that, you can go to hopculture.com/queerbeerinfo. I think that's all for housekeeping. So without further ado, let me welcome Bree and Gabe. Hello. Welcome to the program.
Hi.
Yes. What's up?
How are you? We're so happy to be.
This is great. I love the backdrop you got there.
Thank you.
Celebrating Pride a little early.
That's all right. There's no wrong time to celebrate Pride.
That's right.
Cool. I was hoping you could introduce yourselves and tell everyone about what you do, because you definitely know what you do better than I know.
Yeah, definitely. So, hi, I'm Bre'ona. You can call me Bree. I'm an associate creative designer at Samuel Adams, and I've been at the company for 5 years, actually, ever since I was in college, and then I just kind of never left. We kind of have a similar story. But yeah, I focus on designing like our point of sale, our national campaigns, some packaging, and also am a proud member of Labels Out, which is our coworker network group that kind of is centered in supporting and uplifting the LGBTQ community. I recently became a leader with Gabe. So yeah, super busy, but it's literally the best job ever. And I'm just glad to be here.
Hope you're here too. And Gabe.
Hey, I'm Gabe. He, him, his are my pronouns. I am currently a cause marketing specialist, but like Bree said, I straight from college came in. So I've been here for 8.5 years and have been just so proud of all the projects I've been a part of. And most especially my current role supports our core philanthropic program for Sam Adams, which is Brewing the American Dream, which supports food and bev entrepreneurs. So I'm so happy to give back, be a part of Labels Out, and of course be a part of Samuel Adams Boston Beer Company.
Awesome. Welcome to the program. This is great. So as of course, a reminder to anyone watching, you are more than welcome to ask questions throughout the program today. I'll pull them up. We have a minute. Otherwise, I'm going to ask questions because I got a ton. First and foremost, I see behind you Love Conquers Ale, which I know is a part of the Love Conquers All platform. And I was really curious, for people who do not know, if you could tell us a little bit about how that platform got started and sort of what the mission is.
Yeah, absolutely. So it actually, Love Conquers All as a, I almost want to call it a value versus platform. Because when I think of platform, I think of like a flash in the pan or like a selling thing. Like there's kind of a lack of inauthenticity. And this beautiful, beautiful part of Sam Adams really grew organically. It started with literally from the get-go. Sam Adams has been supporting the LGBTQ community for over 30 years, whether it be fundraisers, community orgs that we partnered with, or celebrating Pride within our own brewery and community. So it's literally just been growing and growing and growing up until 2017 when Love Conquers Ale was first brewed at our Boston brewery, where we finally were like, okay, let's keep going. Let's get the ball rolling. Let's increase our allyship and really live our values to the best. So Love Conquers All as a program is relatively recent on the scene, but I wouldn't call it anything new for us. It's, in support of our drinkers, our coworkers, and our community members who are part of the LGBTQ community, and of course, allies.
Yeah, and I think just adding to that, so Love Conquers All, like Gabe said, was born out of Love Conquers Ale. So we already had an amazing beer, and we had like the play on words. And so when thinking about just like our whole, like all of our efforts to celebrate Pride and support the community, we were like Love Conquers All was just the perfect thing to kind of call our umbrella, our all-encompassing kind of efforts to support the community. So yeah, it kind of, like Gabe said, it's just really been growing organically, and it's been awesome to be a part of.
That's great. So the Labels Out initiative, is that a fair word for it, or network?
Network.
There it
is.
Second try. So does that fall under the umbrella of Love Conquers All? Is Love Conquers All kind of the value at Sam Adams, and then there's different networks and programs that fall under it?
They're a bit separate, but they're hand in hand pretty much. So yeah, Love Conquers All really lives within all of us. It's not just, a brand team behind the scenes figuring it out. It's our Labels Out network. It's our sales coworkers. It's our brewery coworkers. It's everyone who's really living this value. And we're normalizing that conversation of being an ally to the LGBTQ community. Labels Out came about, I would say 2-3 years ago.
Yep.
Well, next question. You're one step ahead of me. Yeah. Tell me about that. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Labels Out came out 3 years ago. It was born out of a speaker series that we had at our Cincinnati tap room. And we got a bunch of folks together, and the conversation was being proud at work and celebrating Pride and being your authentic self. And we loved it so much. We were like, we should keep this going.
Right.
Like, let's go. And so we decided to form a network group where we could focus on awareness. We could focus on representation. We could be consultants working with the brand teams, especially with Sam Adams and Love Conquers All. So it's a kind of a mishmash, but it's a really authentic group where we're supporting the LGBTQ community within Boston Beer.
Yeah, and I think like the really great part about Labels Out is that it brings all of our coworkers together who are really passionate about supporting the community together. And we have coworkers who are all across the country, and they're in sales, they're in finance, creative, marketing, like from every department are coming together to kind of like figure out how we can be better and how we can help support the community. So Labels Out it's such a special group because not only are we able to support the community like externally through Sam Adams and Love Conquers All, but also internally, like looking at policies and just educating ourselves, learning, unlearning. So it's really great. So kind of like Gabe said, like they're separate, but they go hand in hand.
Yeah, I mean, I know both of you started, you mentioned out of college, and so you probably 30 years ago when Sam Adams first started supporting the LGBTQ community. But do you know why? Like, what is it about that cause that really resonated with the brand, and why did Sam Adams first start supporting the LGBTQ plus community?
Yeah, great question. And I kind of want to flip it and say, why not?
Well, of course. I didn't know if there was.
Yeah. I think it just, again, I can't stress enough that this was something that I've heard stories from the get-go that we were leaving cases for folks. Like Sam Adams from the get-go was supporting the LGBTQ community and partners with whatever they can. Of course, it was a growing company and craft beer pioneer. So there wasn't much that could be given, but what could be given was definitely given. And it kept growing from there. So I would say a larger push in more recent years, it actually came internally from our coworkers. We actually have a large base of LGBTQ coworkers and allies, and it was like, hey, why aren't we doing this? Like, let's keep the ball rolling. So it really was so organic.
That's awesome. So what are some of the initiatives internally that happen that make Sam Adams a really supportive place to work? I mean, other than Labels Out sounds incredible, and I know Love Conquers Ale is something that happens every year now. Are there other programs or things that are happening that you guys are really excited about?
Yeah, I think just overall, I think our company has kind of taken a step back. And again, in the spirit of like learning and unlearning, like we've taken a step back and thought about like, we want to be a company that's for everyone. So how can internally we reflect that like we're being for all of our coworkers, that we're making sure that we are a place that all of our coworkers feel safe and included and their voices are speaking up. So we have been putting a lot of efforts towards D&I. One of our amazing coworkers, Carissa, we actually just appointed her. We, as if I had anything to do with it, I knighted her.
Yes.
But we just kind of put her in a position of director of like D&I, DE&I.
Cool.
So it's kind of like we've made it, we've put a person who is very passionate about it in charge of like figuring out from the top down how we can kind of transform our company. And so in there, we have so many events where we have different speakers. We have just different events where we can be social and learn from each other. And that's from our like POC coworkers, LGBT, our working parents, our veterans. So we're trying to focus on like D&I, diversity and inclusion from like every angle, not just like, you know, your typical, like what you would think. And then I think just like in the spirit of Boston Beer, like we are very much a company of like, if you have something on your mind, like say it. And so I think a lot of our coworkers are just like have the spirit of like, hey, we need to be doing this, this, and this and speaking up. It doesn't matter where you are in the hierarchy, like please say something and we're going to make a difference. Like, for example, a few years ago, it was my first year as a full-time coworker. I had been at the company for 2 years part-time. But in my first full-time year, I kind of stood up at our national meeting with like 1,000 people. And I was like, hey, like we need to do more with reaching out to more diverse people and having our company reflect that. And like, it was so well received. So I just think like the spirit of our company is like, let's just do it. Like, let's go for it. We want to be for everybody because we are for everyone. Beer is for everybody.
We make really great beer. Cheers.
Yes, cheers. That's awesome. I'm drinking I got a Resident Culture lager here. Shout out Charlotte, North Carolina. This is an awesome Pilsner that they made, and I was curious what you guys are sipping on right now.
Oh, should we do the YouTube hand?
Yeah, we're gonna do
influencer hand.
This is Summer Ale. I'm drinking Summer Ale,
and I have Porch Rocker. So you know, if you're out at the store, you know, go get you a VP, a Beers of Summer VP out now.
Right. Our briar pack is so good.
Awesome. This is kind of funny because you have the Love Conquers Ale thing behind you. If you were to switch positions and then have Bree hold her beer in her left hand.
Wait, what is this?
Here we go. Hold it in your left hand. Hold it up to the screen. Gabriel.
Gabriel.
There it is.
Oh.
George.
Yes, George.
Wow.
Well done, sir.
That's amazing. It took me a while, but I made it. I'm here. I've arrived.
I wish we were Ellen and could like give you a car.
Right.
Yeah. You get a car. You get I don't know. Was that
Cheers
Oprah?
To you.
That was Oprah.
Yeah, Oprah. You're right.
Yeah, that was Oprah. That's awesome. So, speaking of wordplay, Love Conquers Ale. I know that's coming out. That comes out every June now.
Yes, and there could be more. Our last year or 2 years ago, it actually re-released at our Boston brewery when we were celebrating National Coming Out Day during October, which is LGBTQ History Month. So I wouldn't say every June is set in stone because that is 365 days, and we celebrate all the time.
That's awesome. So I heard the story of how the actual flavor recipe came to be. And I understand it involves Shelly getting a donut. And I'm curious if either of you know the details of that story and would be willing to let our audience know how the recipe was conceived, because I think it's a pretty funny story.
It's amazing. So Shelly Smith, incredible brewer at our Boston brewery. Absolutely love her. She runs all the time. She's like an extreme marathon goddess. Anyways, she went to a donut shop, got this blackberry lime basil donut, and really enjoyed it. And of course, being the creative person that she is, she was like, let me like play around with this. And so she developed the base of the beer is a goza, so it has coriander, salt, and a couple other things. And then she added blackberry juice with lime and with basil. And at first you kind of think like, that doesn't work. Like that shouldn't work in my mouth. But really it is, I cannot tell you, I think the best word to describe it is magic, because all of the ingredients are celebrated equally, but when they're together, they're even better. And I think that's the best like metaphor.
I get it.
That's right. It's like an explosion.
That's the best metaphor I can give for what Love Conquers All stands for. It's representation of each orientation or identity, and then it's the celebration of the togetherness, and it's a great beer.
Yeah, and I also like what you alluded to about, there's a magic that's created when that happened, where 1 + 1 isn't just 2, something bigger, perhaps 4. That's awesome. So I know Samuel Adams last year donated $100,000 to GLAAD, which is awesome. I was curious, do you have a similar goal this year, or are there other organizations that you're working with? I think that's just such an incredible show of support. I mean, financially, it's just one way to support an organization, but to make a donation of that size is really cool.
That is spot on. We wanted to be sure that if we were, sticking to our guns and saying we are true allies, we are going to walk the walk. And so Labels Out with Carissa, we were like, okay, we need to be sure that when this value of ours is out there, that we have a partner and then a national partner that can really make sure that our impact is actually even amplified, but also going local. And that was such a beautiful thing, because yes, you can give to individual pride organizations or different community organizations, but at the end of the day, we're not, a grant company. We're not providing that. And GLAAD really fit the bill of being able to amplify the impact of Love Conquers All for so many reasons. They actually are out of New York, and if you haven't heard of GLAAD before, they are an amazing organization that really rewrites the script for LGBTQ representation in media. So they've been doing this for actually 35 years, which is very similar to Sam Adams' time frame. So they've been in it for a while, and we're so excited to continue that investment for years and years to come, because they have just been an amazing partner. We were actually just joking the other day that we have not met because of the pandemic.
I know.
And yet it is so easy to connect with them, and they've just been so integral to Love Conquers All and all of our efforts.
Yeah, and I think that like one thing about GLAAD is like we're giving them, like yes, we're donating money to them, but they're giving us like such invaluable like knowledge and help, and just how like figuring out how we can best support the community, which has been awesome. We've learned so many things from them, and are so grateful to GLAAD for that. And I just also want to add a little plug. We this year with our release of Love Conquers Ale in our tap rooms, our 3 tap rooms in Jamaica Plain, downtown Boston, and Cincinnati, 100% of the money from that beer is going towards GLAAD. So we are giving it all to GLAAD, and we just want people to enjoy beer and celebrate pride. So I think it's just a testament to how amazing this partnership is and how great we work with them.
Right, and I think all of our partnerships, including Brewing the American Dream, anything that we do, it's long term.
Long term, yeah.
We're not in it for the, oh, let's do this one thing and bye. This is like growing commitment and just authentic support.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. So if you want to check it out, it's GLAD, but with 2 A's. If you Google GLAD, you'll probably get the trash bags with 1 A. 2 A's. 2 A's. Gabe, so you did mention something that is really interesting, and you've both alluded to it throughout this conversation, that it really is a 365 day a year thing, and that these values are integral to the company and not a virtue signal or something that isn't sustainable. It sounds like you've really gone out of, or know you've gotten out of your way to, or the company has gone out of its way to make these a sustainable part of the ecosystem and the values of the company. I'm really curious. I mean, how do you navigate that balance between companies that might be out there picking up on what they see as a trend versus a company like Samuel Adams that might more authentically integrate these values into the very fabric of the company?
Yeah, I think. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, that was my question. Okay. Otherwise, I was going to. Yeah.
That's okay. Listen, I do the same thing. But I think for us, like the most important thing that I think it's that we're keeping people and community at the center of and the top of mind of literally everything we do. Like celebrating pride, supporting the community is not about selling beer. It's not about getting features. It's not about just creating like beautiful cans and selling them and trying to sell them to whoever we want. Like we just want to celebrate people and community. I think that's what's most important, because at the end of the day, like our main goal is that we want, as a big company, a craft brewer, like we have a big platform. I know we don't like to use that word, but we have a big platform, and I feel like it's important to use that so as many people as they can feel understood and seen and represented, especially in craft beer. We know, I think historically it hasn't been the most diverse, but I think like in like the past couple of years, and I think going forward, like there's really been a movement to make craft beer more diverse. And so I think like we're keeping that in mind as well. Like we want to add to that conversation, do whatever we can to keep helping craft beer feel more diverse, but also just make people feel like they can like kind of find a safe space in Sam Adams and they can relate to Sam Adams, because beer is for everyone. So like everyone should enjoy it and everyone should feel great drinking it.
Exactly that. Anyone can slap a rainbow on something and put it out there. That's not what this is. This is truly walking the walk, and I'm really, really proud of Sam Adams.
That's awesome. As somebody that works there, that must feel so good to say.
Yeah. I will say, actually, I got a little emotional thinking about this because it's like Bre'ona was saying, craft beer oftentimes gets a rep of like a stereotypical, undiverse client per se. And coming into Boston Beer when we were first starting, I don't know about you, but I was a bit like code switching. I was like, I don't want to tell them about my boyfriend. I don't want to tell them that I dance. I got to keep my personal life in a bubble. And I'm so happy over these 8 years, I've just been like, why would I ever do that here? I've been so free to be myself. And last year I got the chance to say Happy Pride in front of like all my coworkers. We did like a virtual happy hour, and I had the privilege to talk about our collab partnership and kicking that off. And at the end, I said Happy Pride, and I literally logged off and cried. It was such a happy moment. I was like, wow, little me just said that,
Yeah, I think like that's just how Boston Beer. I completely agree with everything Gabe says, because like even like me as a person, like I'm a little bit extra. Little and it's like you think about like when you're going to work, you're like, oh, I have to be a certain way, but like all of my coworkers and even like people all the way at the top, like Jim Cook, I feel like we even like we'll laugh with him, like they all love us for who we are, and they don't want us to stifle that at all. And so I think that we're just trying to bring the spirit of that into like everything that we do, because it's super important that you know, that you feel like that at work, you feel like that out in the world. So yeah, it's really great.
I think it's coming. I hope it's coming. You know, that's why we're here doing what we're doing. That's amazing. I had a great question and I just forgot it. Oh, Bree, you mentioned that you were a designer, and I was curious if you could tell us about some of the things that you have done recently, or if they're out in the wild, because I want to go look for it now and think of you when I'm looking at them.
Oh, well, thank you. I really appreciate that. Yeah. So I think, yeah, I like designed so many things. Like we just get so many projects because like, you know, even in the pandemic, like beer never stops. Clearly we all saw that. But I think like the thing that I'm most proud of right now is like you're looking at it.
Oh.
So
Awesome.
yeah, so a couple of years ago, one of our other designers, Amanda, she was kind of like, she was taking the lead on Pride and working with our local teams, and did an amazing job for a few years. And then when we, as a Sam Adams brand, wanted to kind of take it to a bigger scale, I kind of took it on as like my little baby. So the Love Conquers All program and Love Conquers Ale has kind of been like very close to me for the past few years. And so this year, the can is just so super special. You know, I really wanted to design a can that felt like happiness, it felt like celebration, and it felt like pride, but I didn't want it to be like in your face rainbow, you know what I mean? So being a designer, I'm a print designer all the way. I literally love print. My dad has been like a printer all of my life, so I love print. So this year it was so amazing to me because we got to experiment with some cool printing techniques and different ways of doing things. So not only were we able to bring the rainbow in through like the actual rainbow and the beer name, but the can is holographic, and we experimented with some spot UV, so there's some texture, so it's like a holographic textured can, and in the sun she's beautiful. So I think it's just like great because I got to design a can like as an ally of the community. It was just such an honor for me that I got to design something that so many people have already like responded so well to, and just feel like they feel the spirit of pride through the can. So yeah, I think my little baby, that's what I'm most proud of right
That's
now.
Amazing. Will that be put out through Samuel Adams like distribution networks, or is that something that's just going to be available at the tap rooms?
Yeah, so this year, due to, you know, still working through some stuff with the pandemic, but so this year it will only be available at our Jamaica Plain tap room, our downtown Boston, and Cincinnati. But we do have a surprise partnership that I can not talk about yet. It will be announced soon. I know the dagger. It will be announced soon, and there will be a few more ways that you can get Love Conquers Ale. So be on the lookout for that. But also, if you're going to be partaking in the Queer Beer Fest, which we are, it's actually on my birthday, so that's going to be like my birthday celebration, June 5th.
June 5th. Happy birthday.
Thank you so much. 27.
I'll be celebrating.
So if you got beer in the Queer Beer Fest, you will get a beautiful holographic can of Love Conquers Ale. So I'm not plugging anything. I just
we needed you before we sold out. Yeah.
I know. Oh, I know.
Awesome.
But hey, it's worth getting to Boston for. That's what I'll say.
Yes, it's always worth getting to Boston. I remembered my question. So, you know, both of you spoke about the importance of people in the community, and speaking of the community, I was really interested in hearing if there are other breweries either in your local community, regional community, or just abroad, further out, that either of you have been to that you love for this reason, that are also really putting in the work and really building more inclusive industry.
Yeah, I'll start.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. For me, first and foremost, I have to give a shout out to Provincetown Brewing Company. They are so yummy. I've been there a couple times, and I know we have a great partnership with our Boston brewery. Our brewery manager there, his name is Travis. He has a great relationship with them. So I'm so excited for them. Our personal favorite is Dorchester Brewing Company. They are literally maybe 10 minutes driving, so you can find me there many nights. But amazing beer, and I think they are putting in the work, which is really great. And I'm really proud of having so many other like I know I have a great many friends at Harpoon. So it's just a really great scene out here in Boston that is really one for all for one.
Yeah, I was literally just gonna say, like, thank you for asking that question, because like beer in general, well, like Pride is obviously, like, everyone should celebrate Pride. Like, it, whether you're a part of the community or you're an ally, like Pride is for everyone, just the same way that beer is for everyone. So I love that you asked that, because it's like, yes, we're like a big brewer, and yes, we want to sell beer, but like the collaboration and just acknowledging that other breweries are like doing some really cool stuff, and are also helping so many people, I think is awesome. So thank you for asking that.
Thanks for answering. That's great. Well, I got goosebumps not once but twice during this conversation. So excited about the work that you both are doing, that Sam Adams is doing, that all the breweries you mentioned are doing. Somebody just mentioned Bell's as another brewery that's doing some really good work in the comments. Is there anything else that we didn't cover today that you want to give a shout out to? Any projects coming up or things you're excited about?
Well, I just want to give a shout out to Hop Culture. I was recently just brought into like all the work we're doing on queer beer, but I know this is kind of like our second like event that we're doing with you guys, and it has been so much fun to work with you all. You all are so much fun, and I feel like the appreciation between companies is like very mutual, and the energy is really great. So just like thank you. And also your Instagram is bomb. So
I appreciate that. Thank you.
We're a huge fan of Grace. So Grace, if you're watching,
Grace,
major kudos.
I was gonna mention Grace because I have to mention Grace, the best. I will say, I'm all right. I'll say it. I hope Grace is watching, because I'm about to drop some knowledge here. So Grace started the Beers Without Beards festival. It was her college or grad school thesis at NYU, and then she came to work for us full time, and really put this whole plan into action to create a week-long series of events in all over New York City, celebrating the achievements of women in the beer industry from all around the world. And it all culminated in a big celebratory Beers Without Beards festival, which we have had 3 years in person. And I think, 2 years in person. I'm sorry. Our third year was supposed to be in person, but of course, COVID. We had it anyway as a digital event. And Grace had actually applied for a grant from the Brewers Association to put on that event. We got the grant. We are now donating the grant back to the Brewers Association to support other equity and inclusion initiatives in Grace's name for all the awesome work that she has done. She doesn't know it yet. It's happening. We're announcing it tomorrow. So shout out Grace. If you are watching, there's nothing you can do about it now. It's too late. If you're not, you'll find out about it tomorrow. So Grace is awesome. So thank you for shouting Grace out. We love Grace.
We were so happy to start our relationship last year with the Beards Without Beards Festival. Through Green American Dream. So absolutely happy that we're continuing our relationship.
Yeah,
definitely. And if people want to learn more about the work that you are doing, sorry, my cat is sitting behind my computer here, just pushing on my camera.
We love it.
Come on, get out of there. Where can
cat intermission?
Yeah, where can people go? Oh, there we go. Yeah.
My heart is melting.
Where can people go to learn more about about this Love Conquers Ale labels out, or to keep up with your awesome designs?
Yeah. So when we're launching the beer, I think it's sometime late May, early June. So once we launch the beer, you can go to samueladams.com, and we have like a whole landing page, and it'll talk about just like everything we've been doing with Love Conquers Ale, why we brew Love Conquers Ale, our relationship with Glad. So I think that will be the best place to go for that. And you can also check out our Instagram. We have some really great stuff planned for Instagram as well. So yeah, I would say samadams.com and Instagram are those, you think, like the best places? Yeah.
Samuel Adams Beer.
Or just like reach out to us and ask.
Yeah.
Or reach out to us. We would love to just talk about how much we love Sam Adams all day.
At Gabriel.
Yeah. How do people reach out to you? What's the best way to do that?
Yeah, so my email is bre'onawhite@bostonbeer.com. Maybe we can like put it somewhere. I don't know where it can go.
I can post it as a comment, but I didn't know if you wanted people to go through the Sam Adams channel. I didn't want to give out your personal info unless you're cool with it.
That's fine. But or you can definitely reach out to Sam Adams like on Instagram and DMs. Like we're very active and like responding to people. So I think that's a great place.
And if you want like a little Labels Out doesn't have an Instagram, maybe someday. But at Boston Beer Careers,
yes,
that's an amazing account that our talent acquisition team runs. So you get some insight into our community, our culture, our values. So definitely at Boston Beer Careers, and you can obviously DM them, and it'll come to us eventually.
Right.
Actually, really rapidly.
Right. So maybe actually don't use my work email.
DM them. Yes.
Yes. DM us. You'll definitely get one of us or someone amazing. But other than that, come and talk to us over a beer. Like the best conversations are had over a beer. All of our best ideas at Boston Beer have happened or started over a beer. So just come have a beer with us. And I think, as long as you're comfortable, because, pandemic is still a thing. Right. But yeah, I think another great way to find out anything.
Awesome. Well, Gabe and Bree, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Cheers.
Bye. All right. That was awesome. That was Gabe and Bree from Samuel Adams. Queer Beer coming up on Bree's birthday, June 5th. Once again, if you want to learn more about that, it is hopculture.com/queerbeerinfo. And leading up to Queer Beer, so pretty much for the next month, we are putting out all types of Pride content on the Hop Culture website. So if you want to just go to our homepage, hopculture.com, we have some awesome stuff coming out there. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll talk to you soon. Cheers.